Court is back in session. Next case is cause number 330956. Case is style of state of Texas versus Jalen Jamal, Jalen Jamal January. Is that your full name? Mr. January, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. January, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. January, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. January? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. January. You're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Alvin Samuel. Attorney Samuel, how you doing?
I'm wonderful, sir.
Mr. Samuel, do you waive a record in Mr. January's case?
We do.
Now, Mr. January, before you get started, are you related to a gentleman by the name of Michael January? Oh, okay. Michael, and just to be candid, a full disclosure, Michael January was a gentleman that worked on my campaign through 2016, 2014. Now, Mr. January, have you and I ever met?
5 years ago.
5 years ago? Okay. And what was the nature of that meeting? I mean, it was you had another charge? You came to this court? And so, okay, where? Okay, I'm trying to remember where I met you. Okay. Now let me ask you this here. Have we ever talked about a case, this case or anything? Have you ever approached me about doing any about this case? Okay, had I ever made any promises or anything of that nature to you regarding this case? Now, you did say that you are related to Michael January, is that correct? Did Michael January make you any promises? Say anything to you about it? Well, he never approached me in this case about this case. Now, is there anything about this relationship, Mr. Johnson, that you think it will be that will be a conflict of interest?
I have nothing, Your Honor. We have no objection in the state will waive any conflict of interest.
Okay, defense,
No.
you waive any potential conflict of interest? Okay. Now, Mr. January, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about July 25th of 2020, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. January, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. January, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Mr. January, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment. It's also labeled a state's exhibit. The wrong box, check. Mr. Samuel,
Yes, sir.
you'll have to check the box with the DWI first. Class B. The range of punishment is slightly different. It's minimum of 72 hours on a DWI first. And it's all included in the DWI first. Okay. Now, Mr. January, do you recognize this document? Now, there's one box that's checked, has X on it, and it's under the range of punishment, and it states if convicted, you face the following range of punishment for driving while intoxicated. First, offense Class B misdemeanor confinement in jail for at least 72 hours, but not to exceed 180 days. A fine not to exceed $2,000, or both such fine and confinement. Conviction resulting in community service will require a drug and alcohol evaluation, rehabilitation, payment of costs, rehabilitation, completion of an alcohol education program, and ignition interlock if the blood alcohol is greater than 0.15 on his or her vehicle. Now, do you understand that? Okay. Now, Mr. January, do you understand that? Okay, now, Mr. January, also on page 2 of this document, there's set of initials JJ on the line next to, now box, let's check guilty. I think you pled no contest. On this document, is a guilty plea. You pleading guilty or no contest? Guilty? Okay, now you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Okay, now, Mr. January, on this document, there's a set of initials JJ on the line next to a box that says check guilty. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of the same document, Mr. January, there is a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature? And on the next document, Mr. January, there is, first of all, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? And are these your initials? Well, at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that check. The first box that checks states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. The second box states that you're waiving your right to appeal. Do you understand that? And Mr. January, did you sign a document out there? Actually, this document that I have here is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. January, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. January, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, it offers state one.
Any objections? No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Samuel, you advised and counsel Mr. January. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Mr. January, your attorney, Mr. Samuel, has advised and counseled. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. January, I will accept your plea guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I also find that you're playing waivers of freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defendant's plea of guilty in this case, the state is recommending confinement in Jefferson County Jail for a period of 90 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence and place defendant on community supervision for a period of 1 year, Your Honor. Require defendant to pay a $500 fine, to complete 40 hours of community service. In addition to the standard probation conditions, Your Honor, we're asking that defendant be required to complete a DWI education course, a drug and alcohol assessment. And lastly, Your Honor, this case will, and also lastly, this case will be dismissing cause number 327408.
Mr. January, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you do not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probation period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $422, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $922. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month. Also, you'll be required to pay urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County Court appointed attorney fees of $250. You'll also be required to pay the Jefferson County DW education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, Mr. January, the total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $185. Mr. January, will you be able to pay the $185? You will? And you also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete a DWI education class and have an alcohol assessment. And the state will be dismissing cause number 327408. And you will also be required to adhere to the standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. January, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. January, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. January, you're gonna stand on, yes.
May I have 1 second?
Yes. Is this? I'm looking for it.
We're ready to continue.
Okay. Now, Mr. January, do you understand the state's offer? You think the state's offer is fair and just? And and do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Mr. January, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. January, you're going to stand on X next to your attorney. You're going to follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, and once you get a copy of your dismissal, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Sammy, I think this is the only 2 cases you have.
Yes.
You'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day. Mr. Johnson, did you do that dismissal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the 17th.
Okay, Mr. January, if I could your question right down for the channel. Is that coming? Nine. And on the calendar here, I just received.
Okay, court is in session in clause number 331688, case of style of state of Texas versus Michael Anthony Medina. Mr. Medina, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Medina, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Medina, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Medina, you may put your hand down. Mr. Medina, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Frank Adams. Attorney Adams, how are you doing?
Doing fine, sir.
And Mr. Adams, do you waive a record in Mr. Medina's case?
Yes.
Mr. Medina, I have before me a document that has been filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This document alleges that on or about January 22nd of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating the motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Medina, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge Mr. Medina, now, did we swear you in?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Mr. Medina, to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? Are you-
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Medina, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
The one that signed outside? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials, MM, that are on the line next to a box, check nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Medina, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
It is.
And at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And we have the discovery certification?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Medina, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. We don't have any more documents with my name on it? Right up there?
Probably do. I didn't.
Oh, I was
I
just
had-
wondering if you got it from there. Okay,
The judge did not draw a line.
okay. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, now, Mr. Medina, I have a document before me that is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
It is.
Now, Mr. Medina, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Adams, go over these documents with you?
It is.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Medina, are you a citizen of the United States?
I am.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Your Honor, state office, state one.
No objection.
And State, I also have State's Exhibit 2, probable cause affidavit in the court's file. State, you like to offer State's 2?
Your Honor, state office, state two as well.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Adams, you've advised and counseled Mr. Medina. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, I'm aware.
And Mr. Medina, your attorney, Mr. Adams, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Medina, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in death for a period of 90 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend and imposing that sentence at this time, Your Honor, place defendant on community supervision for a period of 1 year, and requiring defendants to pay a $500 fine to complete 50 hours of community service, and for the standard DWI probation conditions to include drug education course, as well as they can do after fight, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Medina, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time this 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus $472 for court costs, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $972. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a year analysis fee of $15 each month. You will also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class an initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. The total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $165. Will you be able to pay the $165 each month?
I will.
You'll also be required to perform 50 hours of community service, attend and complete a DWI education class, and have a drug and alcohol assessment. You'll also be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And you'll also be required to adhere to the standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Medina, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
I do.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do.
Mr. Medina, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Medina, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the direction of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Sir, you do.
Next case is Bo Harvey. What did you call, go out to the, Bo Harvey? Oh, that's you, that's Bo Harvey? Okay, where is his attorney? Okay, just have a seat. Mr. Adams, will you stand over to that side so that he can stand there? You can come, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, court is in session and calls number 323-981, case of style of state of Texas versus Bo Thomas Harvey. Mr. Harvey, oh, you know what? This, was it a refile?
It was, yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm looking for the refile. Hold on a minute.
It should be 333.
You said 333.
No.
I don't-
And here's the paperwork. And then here you want to report straight to the probation office.
I need a copy of the information. I don't have that up here.
Yeah, I should have worded it.
Could I get a copy of the information on this Harvey's case? On the here it is. No, never mind. I got it. It's 333-308.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I have before me a document that is titled, now, Mr. Harvey, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Harvey, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. You may put your hand down. Mr. Harvey, you're here represented by your attorney Tom Kelly. Attorney Kelly, how are you doing?
Great, Judge. Thank you.
That's good. Now, Mr. Kelly, do you waive a record of Mr. Harvey's case?
Yes, we do, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Harvey, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about April 26th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of obstructing a highway passageway. And this information further alleges that that from a period of from August 21st of 2019 until October 10th of 2022, and information arising out of the same set of facts was pending in a court of competent jurisdiction in clause number 323981 in County Court at Law number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, styled the state of Texas versus Bo Thomas Harvey. Now, Mr. Harvey, is that true?
Sir.
Now, Mr. Harvey, to this, now that paragraph is, what it does is, there's a statute of limitations. Statute of limitations basically says that once an offense is committed, it has to be filed on or before a 2-year period. Okay. And because this case was filed, it was just filed October 10th of 2022. Obviously, October 10th is more than 2 years after April 26th of 2019. However, this paragraph stops that statute from running because you had a case on file. So we say it tolls the statute. Okay, so that's what that paragraph does. So, and if, just for the record, if that statute is not applicable, or you forfeiting your statute of limitations defense?
We do, Judge.
Okay. Now, Mr. Harvey, to this document, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. Do you You're not in that document?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a set of initials above the line that is titled defendant.
Yes, sir.
That's above the line that's titled guilty. Are these your initials? And on the next document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature? And on the next document, which is titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal, you recognize this document. And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant? There are 2 boxes that's checked on the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that? And I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant? Now, Mr. Harvey, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything that he went over true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Harvey, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer? State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor. No objection, state's window.
Okay. Let me see that. Oh, never mind. I have what I need. No objection, State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted. Mr. Kelly, you've advised in counsel, Mr. Harvey.
Yes, sir.
Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Mr. Harvey, your attorney, Mr. Kelly, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harvey, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, we do.
And what is that agreement?
Now, the agreement is that on cause number 333308, Mr. Harvey will receive 2 years of deferred probation and pay a $500 fine plus court costs. And the state will be dismissing 323981.
What is it, what's that, it cost me, oh, it's 323981? Is that
Yes, Your Honor.
dismissing? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you need to put that in the, judgment. Now, Mr. Harvey, the state is offering that you serve 2 years deferred adjudicated probation. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $292, which comes to a total of $792. You'll also be required to pay a $60 a month probation fee. You'll be required to okay, and now you'll be required to pay monthly installments of $110 a month. That is, you'll be required to pay $110 a month while you're on probation. Will you be able to pay the $110 each month? You will not be, the state is not requiring that you perform any community service. because they will be waiving that, and the state will be dismissing cause number 323981, and you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Do you understand that? And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Mr. Harvey, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Harvey, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney, Mr. Kelly, about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Now, Mr. Harvey, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney. I'm going to follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her direction, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. I need